Exactly. That's exciting. What's the startup?
It's a pharmaceutical.
Pharmaceutical.
Yeah.
Okay. Here in Portland, I'm guessing.
Actually, Ben.
Oh, okay. That's awesome. Yeah.
Oh, first of all.
All across the globe. Yeah, that's exciting. So you guys just like, you guys got market yet?
So we're pre-revenue, but they're probably
Yeah, so he goes.
so it's a regulatory process for FDA for
Yeah, that's huge.
yeah, it's exciting.
Especially pharmaceutical companies, like, I don't get to go through a lot of hoops for selling.
Yeah, definitely. And a little bit of a journey.
Yeah, is that kind of your background? How are you on the operations side?
So I'm our CCO. Market access.
That's exciting. You guys have a little bit of a team there?
Small.
Yeah, I mean, that's the nature of a startup. Like, do as much as you can with what you have. Yeah, I have my own video production company. I also do a little bit of advertising and some marketing. Working with small businesses and individuals, helping them grow their brand. So yeah, I do it all through content creation, podcasts or interviews or video, helping people get their message out there. Yeah, I'll give you a card and then. Seems like it's a good fit. I'm here local, based out of Portland. It's always nice to know other people in the marketing industry because strategies change all the time.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah. I don't know, you guys are probably going big scale on your commercials and everything, but I don't know what you're.
So we focus on orphan rare disease space. So this is not traditional pharma marketing. There's presence in like education and need to engage, but it's in the diseases where there's little patients in the US maybe thousands.
Yeah.
So it's just a different scale.
It's just very specialized.
Yeah. There's no other treatments in health.
Got it.
Yeah. So once you guys go public or go through all the FDA foods, is it just a doctor's referral? That usually someone that's
Hello. Testing your video.
But yeah, you just need documentation explaining kind of what
I should probably talk normal actually.
But yeah, if you're interested, yeah, that's my website.
Testing.
Seems like it's a good fit here. Yeah, that's exciting. Yeah, Brian, speaking. Did you, sorry to stick by, but I know the pharmaceutical program at like Corvallis, it's pretty good. Did you go to school there or anything?
No, pharmaceutical on that? I did not.
No. Well, I guess you're on the marketing side, right? So.
Help support the
I'm sorry.
ABI if possible.
The
Yeah, so
camera?
it kind of goes hand in hand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What you guys do. So.
Just want to be part of hopefully the company be successful.
Yeah. Yeah, learn something. Meet someone new.
Yeah. Give back.
Testing for video. It's a little high.
It sounds a little high, but
Yeah, but that's why I'm thinking if you shimmy it up
all the way up there.
close to maybe a corner, it'll capture the sound through the speakers. Just put it over here.
Can you help me move the table while I think over there is better.
Yeah.
Imagine where?
You put it like right here. Oh, yeah, I can tilt a little. Want me to test the sound one more time?
Yeah.
Go towards the microphone to test the sound.
I have it up on my my phone right now.
Okay, tell me if it's.
All this audio visuals.
Testing for volume. Testing. Testing.
How does it sound on your phone?
They're great.
Is that better? It's better? Okay, perfect.
Alright. Do you want to give the little...
You have a water? Okay, we'll see. Do you need anything else before?
Just us.
Okay.
Always. We should use it on camera.
Are you excited? Is this like your forte?
Yes, I enjoy it, but I have to adapt to everyone so I don't plan it out, and that's one reason. I mean, PowerPoint's nice and everything, but it's not necessary and small. But I just like improv master. Yeah,
I love it. Because I need to have everything rehearsed or I'll sound like, where was I going with this?
I get excited and I go to look people information, but sometimes that works to my benefit because then they're like,
Yeah, right.
just the language because I just give them
Yeah. I just came from China.
my F word. Yeah, right. Exactly. My F word quotient is high this week.
Should we get started? Yeah, it's about 12.
Start
12:04.
people.
Of course. I was going to use my phone.
Great, everybody. Are we ready to get going? Go ahead and finish getting your food, whatever you'd like to get, and have a seat. So there's plenty of seats in the front row here, if anyone's interested. All right, well, I'd like to welcome Ciara Pressler. She's here today to talk about pre-gaming your business. So come on up here whenever you're ready.
Yeah! Woo! You guys do not want to miss even a second of this, so I will let you grab your pizza, and it's kind of like unique torture to watch people eat pizza while I'm up here. So I'll start out soft and leave some of the heavy-hitting content until everyone has their food in their chair. Don't be afraid to sit right here. I don't spit that I know of unless I'm doing Shakespeare, which I won't. We're also live streaming to Facebook, so hello everyone on Facebook and thanks for tuning in. My name is Ciara Pressler. I have a company called Pregame, and I'll give you a little background on that as well. But I always like to know who's in the room, and this is my first time with this group at all, either as a guest. No, don't even think you can get away with sitting over there. I'm not always a great, I just flew in from the East Coast last night. I live here, but you know, I always marvel at how different the cultures can be even within our own country of the United States in different cities. And so I'm still in that adjustment period back to Portland where I have to like remember to be nice and everything. So if I'm extremely direct today, we can blame it on the Eastern Seaboard. So yeah, just to know who's in the room, if anyone wants to put their hand up and say their name and the business they're working on and what stage you're at, if you're still in idea stage, funding, like where you are in the cycle of your business. I'd love to just hear from a few people, so put them up. You're looking at me.
Okay, sure, yeah. Hi, John Falconer with Summit Development Group. We need you guys, so we've got a couple buildings under development right now on the Central East Side. So a couple of life science buildings, so if you want some space, come see me.
Real estate development for bioscience businesses. Great resource. Who else? Yeah.
I'm Anna. I have a startup, and we are definitely still in the garage tinkering phase.
Yes. What kind? Can you share? We're in an NDA bubble right here, besides the live stream on the internet.
I won't tell anybody
No,
what
it's
I'm
all
doing. We're making radiation shielding
Wow.
materials.
Radiation shielding
Like
materials.
a better lead apron.
A better lead apron. The perfect Christmas gift. Yes. What else? Who else? Oh my gosh, your future collaborator could be in this room. Shout out your business, guys. What else? Yeah? What do you got?
My name is Arvind Karante. I work at OTSU in their intellectual property department. In addition, my wife and I are starting a nonprofit organization, an environmental education organization on climate change.
Wow, nonprofit for environmental education around climate change. Fun fact, in my first career as an actor, I was in an educational video about the value of the watersheds. So hence the career change. What else? What's your business?
I am with Gene Gazer. We're doing genetics, nutrition, and mental health.
Great. Is anyone, wow, I need that. Genetics, nutrition, and mental health, Gene Gazer.
Gene Gazer.
Awesome. I will pick on you more if you don't love to be picked on, but you love to win things. I'm going to do a little drawing at the end of this to keep you around till the end for my book, which is called Game Plan. It's a workbook that goes through the method I'm going to talk about. And so you can order it from Amazon, but why wait 2 days with Prime shipping when you could have it right now? So I'm going to pass this around. You can just throw your business card in it or write your name on this little paper. And don't think you can sit back and relax because all of my stuff is highly interactive, so I will ask more of you during this time to just get comfortable with that. This is a room where you can't make a mistake. We're just all here to learn, so it is all good. So thank you so much for your time, for coming here on your lunch hour. I know your time is extremely precious, especially if you're a business owner, entrepreneur, and you're balancing so many different things and so many different roles. And some of you may even be still incubating an idea and still at a full-time job as well, which means you have like double the workload to do. But hopefully some of what I give you will maximize your time. It's always my goal, knowing how busy we all are, to give you really high value so you can take it and implement it whether we ever see each other again or not. So let me tell you a little bit about my own background, about pregame and game plan method and all that. So again, Ciara Pressler. I grew up here in Beaverton. Heavy user of theater and choir, and moved to New York to be an actor when I was 21, and it was a super fun adventure. Had a lot of great times, made all the mistakes you could possibly imagine. Probably one of the most opposite industries from healthcare that you could think of. Is definitely like the permanent Wild West there. But I learned a ton. I learned a ton about what to do when you are your own business, when you are your own brand, how to differentiate those things. And a lot of the problems that people had in that business or challenges were things that are extremely common to the startup world today. So it was a really interesting kickoff pregame, if you will, to my next career, which was marketing. I was lucky to have really amazing day jobs during my artistic years, including some full-time improv, so that's why I don't have a PowerPoint for you today. Also because my computer wasn't working. But did a lot of work in finance, did work in the first .com boom of like 2000, 2001, and ended up in marketing. And I ended up at a career coaching firm before anyone knew what coaching was, let alone career coaching or business coaching, and ran all their marketing. So it was what I think of as my MBA in learning how to get stuff done. And so I was there for a couple of years, then moved on to an agency that was a hybrid for-profit, not-for-profit, where we ran events to give exposure to emerging artists. If you, in your spare time, like things like Project Runway, we were the force behind that, finding those designers and helping them get their first break. So you see a theme through here, right? People who are creative, people who are innovators, people who have a big idea and need to find their customers for it. How do they get to that next plateau where it's beyond idea and creation phase to actual viable business that pays you, right? And so I became really interested in what leads to success or failure in any business, regardless of industry. I started my first business in the recession. People really had that attitude of like, well, you know what, the big businesses are not gonna be as secure as we thought because all these layoffs were happening, so people were really willing to take that chance to start their own business. And so I started in arts and entertainment, that being my background, and expanded to work with companies in real estate, tech, finance, several other areas as well, helping them with their brand strategy and communication strategy. So my specialty is marketing and PR. All the while, trying to find ways to help the even newer people who maybe didn't have a budget to hire an agency yet get the best practices they needed in order to grow their business, right? Because if you want to go hire a PR agency, has anyone done that yet? Is anyone at the stage where they've hired a PR agency? I think people who are hiring their first PR agency often have like a very magic pill mentality, like, oh, if I only just get this article in the Wall Street Journal, then all my problems will be solved and I'll get all the customers I need and like happily ever after. That might have been the case about 10 years ago, but even then you have to be ready for that level of attention, and if you don't have the inventory or have your product working perfectly, have a way to capture all those eyeballs once they get to your website, it really is a loss of that opportunity. Besides all of that, if you're not ready, it costs a lot of money to hire a good PR firm. It costs a lot of money to hire a bad PR firm. And so I was always interested in filling this gap. If you need help in your business, if you need someone, a consultant, if you need an agency, if you need to answer a question that you have or get off of a plateau where you're stuck, you can either consult Dr. Google, you can read a book, right? Maybe even take a class, go to a conference, or you can hire an agency or a consultant. That's the difference of like $0 to $20, $200 maybe for a conference, to about like minimum $5,000 per month with a 12-month minimum for a boutique PR agency, right? And so I wanted to fill in this huge gap that there is in getting good business information. So I moved here 5.5 years ago, needed that West Coast lifestyle again, and still had kept my business going, but in the meanwhile had developed a lot of content to help people think more strategically about their business. My book, my other book, a web series, a lot of online articles, all about thinking strategically, bringing in some style with your brand, and all of that. Finding price points that were more affordable for business owners at all stages of their business, especially the beginning, and especially small businesses and self-employed people, and people who weren't necessarily seeking funding, right? My client is not a 10Xer. They're not a unicorn. It's not Theranos or WeWork or any of these other people who are in the news right now for maybe having been overvalued. If your play is to like get in, get out, 10X sell, there's so many resources for you in that way. There are incubators, accelerators, there's money for that. People are already investing in it. There's not a lot of resources for the people who are building a business out of their passion, like a nonprofit. There are not a lot of resources for people who are building a lifestyle business, like I'm starting this business because I want to be able to pick up my kids from school. There are not a lot of resources for people who are really isolated because they're working from home, and then they go online to feel like they're connected to people and go on Facebook and everybody's acting like everything's going great in their business, and then you start to second guess yourself, and then you spiral down in your head, and then you don't have any accountability to your goals, and then you feel like you want to give up. There's no business therapy. So I really wanted to create something that brought together solutions for all of these different things. Meanwhile, I was doing an annual event called Goal Brunch, and it was a New Year's event, and I brought friends together, and we would set goals for the year together. It kept getting bigger and bigger. Our first one was 9 years ago, and I've done it every year since in multiple cities. And so basically I wanted to bring together my consulting practice, all the workshops and content I was doing, what was happening, that energy that was happening in New Year's with Goal Brunch, but what was missing was accountability. Now, I am a 9-time marathon runner, not in the last few years, but in my life, and that structure always worked really well for me. I love working out, I love the gym, and so I thought, let's put business consulting, business coaching, business acumen in a gym model. And so that's what Pregame is. There's calendars up at the front that give you an example if you want to see it, but it's just like a gym. We have classes every single day. We have a physical space in the Pearl District. You get a monthly membership, and you have unlimited access to classes. Our main class is called Home Team. I'll pass that around. And it's a weekly goal-setting accountability session. It's not industry-specific. I really believe in the magic of getting people from different industries in the room so that you're not in your bubble. There are plenty of resources out there for you to network with other people who do what you do, but it's not always easy to have a constructive conversation with people who do not do what you do. And so it solves that problem as well. So every single day we have 1-hour sessions that people can drop in on unlimited with their membership and get what I call a shot of strategy. And then we do one-on-one as well. And so general business, best practices, as well as marketing, sales, PR, digital marketing, and all those things that never end. So we generally work with people who are already in their business, already doing what they do, and maybe they've hit that first plateau. Oh, I thought if I just launched it, then everyone would buy it. Well, not usually. You have to have a marketing strategy behind it. I'm so sorry if I'm just breaking this to somebody right now. And sometimes people come to us not because their business isn't growing, but because it's growing too fast, and they feel really overwhelmed. And their spouse has said to them, if you talk to me about your business problems one more time, I might not be around the next time. And so it's actually causing problems in their personal life to not have the emotional support for entrepreneurship that they need. If you are rolling solo without a business partner, it can be really hard to be making all those decisions by yourself. And so we put people into small groups, like no more than 7 people, where you have a cohort of peers around you to help you make those decisions and think clearly and basically increase your odds for success. I'm really proud of it. It's really fun. I hope that you guys all come and visit me. So everything we do at Pregame is a workout. It's all structured the same way, so we're going to do a mini little workout today so that you guys get a taste of it. And so I always like to bring a worksheet. It's usually a threat. I'm going to bring a worksheet with me, guys, make you do something. Yeah. So, I think in the world of startups and entrepreneurship, there's a few other problems, and I've talked about some of them. One I want to highlight again is that magic pill mentality, right? Like overnight success. Like the second this launches, it's going to blow up, and then everything's going to be fine happily ever after. And I really advocate setting goals based on the journey versus the destination. If you are doing like a 10x strategy, build something, flip it, get out, it's a little bit different. But if you're building a lifestyle business, or you're building something that you want to grow over time and continue to do, I highly recommend checking yourself when you realize, like, oh, I'm just hiring this vendor or doing this conference or doing this thing because it's going to solve my problems forever. Really, it's just giving you more information. Take what you need, leave the rest, keep growing, keep evolving. It's a never-ending process. So as soon as you can correct your mentality from before, after, beginning, end, and get it into like a constant process and evolution of making decisions, the better. The other thing is what I call success theater. So that is social media. So if anyone's off of social media, I commend you. Some of us for our businesses have to be on it. It's really important, even if it's not Facebook or Instagram or Twitter, it might be LinkedIn. I assume everyone in here is on LinkedIn. I can't imagine a reason why you wouldn't want to be on it if you're trying to grow a business. But what you see is a lot of success theater, right? People's wins, people's achievements, people's triumphs, without any nuance, without the full story of what really happened, without, whether they're actually having a good day or not. And that's really important. It's LinkedIn. It's not appropriate to go to a networking event and talk about your problems. It's, you go there with your elevator pitch so you can meet people. So we need a place outside of that, some sort of secure community. It could be in your incubator, it could be with your friends, it could be with a mastermind group you put together, or it could be with something like Pregame. I want to tell you about 6 or 7 principles that I landed on that are, really are the underpinnings of our approach. So Game Plan's my book. It came out before Pregame opened. Had to change the name because of copyright. I'm sure some of you guys are dealing with that. So Pregame, it's called such for several reasons. People always wonder. The pregame, as you know, is strategic, having fun before you go out to celebrate. So we are hoping that you have something to celebrate in your business after you come to us. It's also, that tailgate party of celebrating before you win. There's always something to celebrate in your business, even when you're having a hard day. And my last name is Pressler, and my running nickname was Pre, like Prefontaine. I'm not as talented as Prefontaine. And we make business into a game, right? You guys know that gamification helps us learn as humans, and making things fun, making things bite-sized, takes some of the stress and the pain out of the business side of our creativity. So we try to bring it all in together. So here are some of the general principles, and I'd like to stay at that 30,000-foot view. Our topic, I don't know if you are on social media with us, but our topic last week was working on your business versus in your business. Every week we have a different topic that all of the classes kind of integrate. And so last week, working in your business versus on. Right now we're working on, right? Because we're talking about big picture, 30,000-foot view. I like to stay up there because we're not so tactical because we don't specialize in an industry, except in certain special events and classes that we have. So here are some of the big picture things that underpin our approach. Like I said, we don't believe in formulas. I think if you get to the point of like desperate mode before you hire a vendor, whether that's a marketing agency or a sales coach or like a business consultant, if you wait until the point of desperation to shop, people often don't comparison shop and they go with the first person that gets referred to them, or they go with the first person who comes up on their search, and that person is not always the best vendor. They're often the best salesperson, and often they promise you success in 30 days or some variation of that. And I know you guys are all smart and mature and educated people, but it's so easy to fall for that when you're in that narrow view of a desperation mode. And so we really encourage people to comparison shop their options and remain in that CEO spot in your company. So we don't believe in success formulas. We do believe in best practices and frameworks, and we work from the game plan framework in all of our content. 2, we are collaborative. It's a competitive world out there, ever more so than before, but we try to find ways to create a win-win with everything, like turn competitive relationships into partnerships to benefit. One way I just did this was, there's a lot of other incubator accelerator programs out there, and we've just created something called the Pregame League, where everybody in our league, organizations like different accelerators like Built Oregon or Accelerator or Pi, they all get some benefits at Pregame just from being part of that. Total win-win, because we get the word out to their people get more benefits for their businesses, everybody benefits. I'm all about that. Here's a big one. We're open to change. So you guys are innovators, you understand being open to change, but if you've had your business for a while and your industry is changing, it can be very difficult to get on the road to that change. I'll use a really analog example. Bookstores, right? Independent bookstores are in a bit of a crisis right now and have been for a number of years because of Amazon. Amazon, still a great company. Just want to say, post my book through there. It's live streaming, guys, so it's recorded. But Amazon is putting a bit of pressure into the independent bookstore, not just independent, of course, the big ones like Barnes & Noble and Borders, may they rest in peace. So, thinking innovatively and being really honest with yourself about reality and the market out there, it's surprising to me, people can go on either side of the spectrum, right? Over concern with competitors in the market and like making all their decisions in reaction to those competitors, which is not good, or not knowing at all what's going on in the marketplace. And I'll have people come in to meet with me about their business idea, and I'm thinking like, have they even looked at the market? Like, that already exists. Or what's to stop this other company with all these resources from creating that? And so it's like having that good balance of being aware but not becoming obsessed with the landscape, and being open to change and adapt as the industry changes and adapts as well. Here's the big one. We tell the truth and we tell the whole story. So whenever we do guest speakers and it's kind of like we'll do an interview style, I always want to know about the hard parts, because we don't talk about the hard parts enough. And I want to know, when did you almost give up? What did you do? Who do you go to when you need to talk about what's going on in your business or struggles that you're having? Where did the money come from? Like, what was the effect on you or your family? These are the things that don't get talked about in our culture that's very obsessed with like startups and founders and really glorifies it. It's really important to have frank discussions about those things and about what the trade-off is, right? I never tell someone they can't start their business. It's not my job. My job is to tell them what it probably will take to accomplish the goal that they want and help them make sure that they're setting the right goal in the first place. So the first thing I always do with people is have a kickoff session, which is a one-on-one hour. And what we do is go through their entire, past, present, future, what they want in their business, and start to create a game plan for what they need to do in the next 90 days, which is very much that approach of having a game plan versus a business plan. I'll get right back to that. So acknowledging the whole story, the obstacles and challenges, and really talking about what it's going to get to, what it's going to take to get around them. Of course, we have to be optimistic, sometimes unreasonably so, as founders and innovators, but having a reasonable view of reality and the obstacles we might come upon gives us that much more ability to handle it well. come back with some pro tips, actually. So what I want to do with you guys today, it looks like we're mostly done eating, so I'm going to do a worksheet. So you're going to want to grab a pen. Let me say a few words on this business plan versus game plan. So who has written a business plan either for their current business or any business ever? It's not, you're not getting graded, so just to know, okay. You're like, I've written 10 of them. Awesome. There's some great tools now. When I wrote my first business plan, I just used the SBA online tool to walk me through it, and I just kind of did it as an exercise. I didn't really need one. Controversial, I know, but I think the only times you really need a business plan are when you're starting and when you're seeking funding, right? The rest of the time, I really believe you only need a game plan. I will come back to that. Like I said, a lot of great tools now. The SBA has a free one, but there's a software now, things like Live Plan, where you can see your plan and adapt it in real time and integrate it with your books, like your QuickBooks or Xero or whatever accounting software you're using. So, business plan is all about some of the things we just talked about, like being aware of the marketplace. What does your product do? How is the money gonna work? I find that creative people often really avoid telling the numbers story because they feel less comfortable with numbers. I assume a lot of people in here have like a science background, so numbers might be a little less intimidating. But even so, money always has emotion around it, and so running the numbers of whether this really works, whether the pricing structure is correct, where the funding is going to come from, realistically, both best case scenario and worst case scenario is super important. All of that is in your business plan. The big picture outlook, it's basically like our best guess at how all this could go, right? So what happens a year in? You've tested your product, you know a lot of new things. Is it worth it to rewrite your entire business plan? Not really, unless you're looking for funding. So I advocate having a game plan. A game plan is based on 90-day increments of your goals. So what we do, the most important thing I ask people when they come to see me for the first time is, if everything works out perfectly and wonderfully and with ease, where do you want to be a year from today? So think about that for a second. If we are all here for some reason, again, in these exact same seats, in October 22nd of 2020, and everything with your business or whatever project you're working on, this really doesn't only apply to businesses. I've used the same method for people who are producing a film, having a fundraiser, any kind of project that requires a little bit of planning. Where do you want to be a year from now? How do you want things to be different? So we start with that. And it gives people a chance to elevate out of the day-to-day, struggles, task list, all of that, and look at where we want to be. And then we reverse engineer it to what needs to happen each quarter to get there in the next 90 days. It sounds really simple, and it is really simple, but like most good simple things, like it requires some practice and some elegance to get it right, to get the form right. And there's a lot of little tweaks that can help. It's all in the game plan book, but that's what we do every week at Pregame is we learn a new tool to help us do this faster and better. This week, for example, we're talking about differentiating between what's in your control versus out of control in your business. So you can set a goal that is, get my team to behave a certain way, which is really not in your control. What's in your control is what are the processes and functions and training you're going to put in place in order to give your team the opportunity to grow. And then if they don't grow, we'll see what happens, right? So game plan is about reverse engineering it down to the 90-day goals. Then when we take the 90 days and we split them up into milestones, usually it breaks neatly into the months, because at Pregame, the last day of every quarter, we set goals for the new quarter. The last day of every month, we set goals for the new month. And then we meet weekly, and so you have weekly priorities. We apply deadlines to them. We identify who are the people who need to be part of this goal, who are the stakeholders, or the people who would just inspire us or keep us going along the path. And then also, what are our potential obstacles and what are all the resources we need? And if we don't have the resources, that's where the group really comes into play, because we're brainstorming for each other, connecting each other, saying, oh, go check out this networking event. Oh, you might want this piece of software that'll help you a lot more. Oh, you actually don't need a software that's putting too many processes in place that are just gonna slow you down. So it's always about getting to the end goal, and if you're moving in that direction. You don't need to know the how on the first day, you just need to know the what and the when, and then we will help you figure out the how, which is really great. So you can't know how far it is from where you are to where you need to go without knowing how you're really doing. So let's do a little fitness assessment. You know, we gotta use those sports metaphors of pregame. So go ahead and date this in case you do it again, because you will see your business change if you do this every 90 days, if you do it again in a year. It's good to see where you've improved. And I know when you're in it every single day working on these little details, it feels like you're not making movement sometimes. But when you do something to check in, some sort of diagnostic periodically, you're going to have a lot better time. So these are, first of all, above the solid line, the 6 areas of business that we focus on. Every goal you could possibly have in your business will fit into one of these 6 categories, but you do not have to have all 6 categories activated at all times. Here's the trick with this fit test. If the category does not apply to you and you've thought about it and you know it doesn't apply to you, you win, right? So don't be hard on yourself because you're not doing something. If you're not doing it because you know you don't need to do it right now, then that is being smart and strategic. So in that square column in the middle, you're going to give yourself a score of 1 to 10 in each of these areas, and I will explain each one. So it's just a diagnostic on how you're doing today. It could change tomorrow, it could change next week, and it most certainly will change in 3 months. So the first category is product. So your product could be a service, but it is the product itself. Do you know what the product is? Where are you in the product development process? It doesn't mean that it's perfect. It just means, are you on track for where you need to be right now with your product? Do you know the model? Do you know the pricing? Are you doing the research you need to know the pricing? If you are building a service business, it still applies, right? It's helpful to think of services as products. You know, do you know how much it costs you to produce that product or service and what the margin is that you need to have? Do you know what the market looks like and what the demand is for your product or how to create demand, right? So give yourself a score on that. Any questions on that? Okay. The next one's marketing. So marketing is not necessarily that your email list has 100,000 people on it like you want to have someday. It just means that you're where you need to be for today. All right? So marketing, that you've actually thought about what is your marketing strategy. Your brand, you have a really clear and defined brand. Highly recommend having a brand that's in black and white. It makes printing a lot easier and cheaper. Do you have great marketing materials that tell your story? Do you know your positioning against your competitors? So if somebody comes up to you and says, oh, why should I buy your solution versus this solution or that solution, you know how to answer that. Communications, if you're not doing this yet and you know that you don't need to do it yet, it's okay, don't deduct yourself. Social media and events. Events are part of marketing too. So are you doing the marketing that you need to right now? How's the marketing going? Are you have any missing pieces? I'll qualify that this also works for career. So I'd say about 25% of our members at Pregame are employees of a company, but they're usually leaders, right? They're either entrepreneurs, so they're in charge of running their own business within a company, someone like a mortgage broker, or they run a department. And so they can apply all of this to their department, or they can apply it to their career, all right? Like their personal brand for marketing. Money. So money can be sales, it also can be financial management, it also can be funding. So knowing what your numbers are today, knowing what's coming in, when the other things need to come in, having an accountant, having a bookkeeper if you need to, knowing exactly how much you need to raise and the right sources to raise it from, how much runway you have, and then I would say also not just those end goals, but also your habits. Are you checking in with your numbers regularly, daily, or at least weekly? Are you getting reports from your bookkeeper? With sales, it would be, do I have a sales process? If I need a CRM, is it set up? Am I tracking? Basically, I don't care if you track on a spreadsheet or pencil and paper or in Salesforce, as long as you're tracking, all right? And it's working for you, that's all that matters. Team. So even if you're a solopreneur, team still applies to you, because team might be that inner circle of people that is cheerleading you on and has your back. It could be a mentor, a coach, a consultant, could be a vendor like an accountant or bookkeeper, it could be people that you subcontract to get the work done. But if you have a company, then it could be your team, like employees, contractors. Do you have an onboarding system? This is something where a lot of startups forget to their own detriment. Do you have a review schedule and process in place? Are people having check-ins? Do they know what their 90-day, what they're going to be measured on, and are you actually having that meeting with them annually or quarterly? And then operations. I love operations. Does anyone love operations? I don't know. So that is your systems, processes, and habits. Do you have documentation of how everything needs to go? So especially if you are creating a product or outsourcing the production of the product, you have those systems documented, checklists. This is how we do things here. And ability to scale is totally dependent on your operations usually. If you're solo, if you have like a solo service business, like say you are, well, I just met somebody who's a hairstylist, but this would also apply if you're a videographer or something like that. Operations could just be your own habits of getting things done efficiently for you. And then impact. Impact is your reputation. Impact is especially relevant if you are doing something to change people's lives, like a nonprofit, something where you need to measure your impact somehow or quantify it so you can talk to your funders in that way. But it could also be your personal reputation, having your LinkedIn updated, if you're doing more speaking engagements, if you're writing a book. Anything that's around reputation, legacy, or philanthropy, community impact goes in that category. So you've got some scores so far. I want to bring life into it, because entrepreneurship, being an innovator, a creative person, is a lifestyle choice, right? And we're very privileged to have that choice, some of us. And so we want to think about how it's affecting the rest of our lives too, because I believe we're in a crisis with founder health, founder mental health. It's a very stressful, not just founders, professionals everywhere. The workplace is different than it's ever been. We're expected to be plugged in all the time, and it's very easy to get sucked into becoming a worker in a way that is not necessarily healthy to us and to the rest of our lives. If you even have a rest of your life. And so making sure that the rest of you is taken care of is really important. We have a weekly session at Pregame that's just about life goals and having lifestyle balance and having the right mindset and staying healthy in that way. And that's why we work only in person right now. We'll do one-on-one coaching by Zoom, but our group sessions are only in person because it's really important to have community and feel heard and listened to and have that space held for you when you're going through stuff in your business. So the first personal category is career. So this could be if you're working for someone, but if you are the CEO of your own business, I still think you should have annual reviews with yourself and make sure that you are incentivized enough to keep leading this business forward and that you're the best person to do it. So are you happy with your career track? And then lifestyle. So yes, having a life. Does the phone get shut off on nights and weekends? At least sometimes. Are you seeing your friends? Are you taking care of your own health and wellness so that you can show up fully? Do you have some personal goals or anything you're working on? Do you feel balanced and connected? And then this is my favorite category. The name of the category keeps changing because we all are like, oh, it should be called this, it should be called that. But I'm going to call it energy for today. So this is, my mentor says to me, if I'm half empty and I'm running on half empty all the time, I'm not giving my optimal, effort forward. But also because I am in a service business and I help other people, if I'm pouring out into you so that you can get full, then I'm empty. And so the goal is to be overflowing so we can both be full. So imagine a cup overflowing into another cup, and then we're both full and we have more to pass on. And so energy to me is like filling that tank, filling your glass. Do you have activities, people, places you go that fill you up? Do you have, is your energy feeling balanced? I just did a news segment on burnout and avoiding burnout, and I've certainly hit that a few times in my startup because it's like, oh my gosh, it's so overwhelming. I'm trying to figure everything out. I'm doing it all myself. And so maintaining my energy so I don't hit that point is really, really important. And then the last one is mindset. Do you have, again, people to talk to? How's your attitude? Do you have ways to manage stress? Do you feel a sense of purpose and authentic support? Now, if you'd like, you can add those all up for the purpose of doing this again another time, and these are yours to keep. I'm not going to grade them. No one else ever has to see them. But is anyone brave enough to share one that they scored high on that they're feeling really good about? Who's got a good one? Yeah.
Impact of Stone Stable, trying to save the world by stabilizing vaccines.
I love that. So impact is high because you're really clear on what your purpose is?
Yep.
I love it.
I feel happy about it, and other people seem to feel pretty happy about it too.
Yeah, thank you for doing that work. Yeah. What else? Who had a high score in a certain area? No one? Does anyone have a 10 or a 9 or an 8? It's not designed to make you feel bad, just to know where you are. Yeah. Did you have one? Yes.
Yes. I'm a graphic designer, so the overhead is really low, and I've been updating my Squarespace website, and it's going really well. So I have a second job interview today, and I had a really successful one. So I picked up a project on Friday, and I'm probably going to pick up this other project today.
Congratulations.
Yes.
Are you available? No,
I am available.
It sounds like you're pretty booked.
I'm definitely available. Yes. Yeah.
Awesome. So which category did you score high end for that?
Product.
Yeah.
I update my social media. I do a lot of personal work, and a lot of former employees or employers as well as colleagues of mine. They're on my social media, so they're always watching what I'm doing. So I'm always creating, and I think that's really like keeping your axe sharp.
Yeah.
Is really important when it comes to creativity and
sounds like your energy area is really high then too, because it's not necessarily that I feel perfect today and I'm doing perfectly. It's that because I'm a little disoriented today. I flew in at like midnight last night, but I know, okay, tonight I'm gonna go grocery shopping. I know how to take care of myself. I know how to be back in the game tomorrow. And so my best today is like standing here, like this is great. This is awesome. This is a 10. I know my energy could be higher, but like I know what to do to get there, and that's enough. Yeah? Yeah, cool. Did anyone score low in one that they would be willing to be brave enough to share? Like, you know what, I'm just not there yet in this area, or just struggling with it?
Sure.
Yeah.
I scored low in marketing. We are marketing. We're doing research.
Okay. Is it time to do marketing yet?
I mean, that's the whole weirdness. We're trying to get kind of a focus group of responders to our whole product, and we have that in the clinic, but we don't have that as paying customers.
Okay.
So we aren't really marketing, we're really trying to focus group, research, whatever you want to call that.
Yeah. I mean, I would put that in marketing because you might use that to create your first adopters. But yeah, I mean, they still are your target audience. Your target audience is just a research audience right now. Yeah. So yeah, it could be product, or, I mean, obviously some things fit in more than one category. But in terms of like, you have a name.
Yeah.
Do you have like a logo and branding and things like that? Yeah. I mean, you may not need it yet. And here's the thing is like a lot of people sometimes think, well, I have a business because I have a website and a logo. No offense to graphic designers, because I love graphic designers and they are miracle workers, but that is not what makes a business. Like knowing the brand and the reason for your website to look a certain way and work a certain way, and the reason that your logo needs to look and perform a certain way, that's your business. One of the most successful people I know in marketing, his website just is black and it says by referral only. Just kind of baller. But the point being that Because business comes through referrals. So most of us who work in service businesses, our top thing is always going to be referrals. And what that does is give him the opportunity to show the portfolio he wants to show and get into a sales conversation right away, instead of allowing people to look and say, oh, that's not for me. He can tailor his services to every single inquiry. So, I always say know the rules before you break them, but if you're breaking them strategically, you're absolutely welcome to do so. So if it's not time to do heavy marketing yet, and you know that, maybe you're an 8 or a 9.
Okay.
Okay, yeah. What else? One more. Yeah.
Can I ask a quick
Sure.
question? How do you define strategy?
Marketing strategy? Yeah.
How do you define that to the average
Sure.
person?
I wish I had a whiteboard right now. Strategy is like the big picture view. So it's like, why are we doing this? What are we doing and why are we doing it? And then the execution is how and when, right? There's some when in there too. So okay, I'll use my business as an example. Pregame is in its simplest form business coaching, right? Our strategy is to start by specializing in entrepreneurs and startups. That's both because that's my background, because entrepreneurs and startups are first adopters, kind of by definition. They're willing to try a new thing. Do I want to do business coaching for more different people 10 years from now? Probably. But they're a really good focus group to start out with. And so therefore our materials speak to and appeal to the journey of entrepreneurship or self-employment. And so that's our strategy. Our strategy is always going to be very much based on who our target audience is. That is something you cannot pull apart from your strategy. And then the implementation or the execution of that is creating the marketing materials and deploying them and continuing to keep them up, not just like setting it and forgetting it, because everything is a continual process. Yeah. Does that answer? Yeah. Any other ones? Any insights or aha moments that you had about like where you are in your business or what you need to focus on in the next few months? Okay, I'm gonna give you guys some pro tips so that you can go out of here and do some more things. So when we're setting goals, which the game plan approach is all about having specific goals for a year out and then for 90 days out. Here are the things that sabotage your goals. Here's what to avoid. The first one is we're not honest about what we really want. So something I realized when I started doing game plans as a service, I would write a written 90-day plan for people who are coming to me in my consulting practice, is that if we weren't clear on the right goal, they got really frustrated after a few months, right? Because they thought, oh, well, we're not achieving my goal. And I thought, well, you came to me and you said your goal was X, and really it was Y. And so making sure that the goal is correct, which I have worksheets for that too, that you're really going for the right thing is important. So in a startup, it might be something like, is it time to do marketing yet? Like, is that a goal you really need to have right now? Another example would be the kind of funding you're getting. People like go straight to the pitch competition because we watch Shark Tank, but investor money may not be the right money for your startup. Maybe you need to preserve ownership. Maybe it's a loan. Maybe you need to prove the concept before you're even asking for money. The other one is we're not specific, right? So you guys have heard of SMART goals, S-M-A-R-T. I had not heard of SMART goals when I wrote my book, and so I have a different version of that, but it's the exact same concept where it's about keeping it simple, measurable, time-bound, achievable, realistic. Here's one. We overdo it with too many goals. Now, I am a bit of an overachiever, so I often will have too many goals, and then I can't move forward on any one because I'm taking a step on this goal, a step on that goal, and then I forgot about this goal over here. And so I only allow people to have up to 6 goals in their business at a given time. And then sometimes we underdo it. We're not inspired. So this is just about knowing yourself. And, if you ask me, the entire journey of entrepreneurship is about getting to know yourself better, because you will be the most interesting boss you've ever had, right? Because you can't really lie to yourself or blame anybody else about whether you're succeeding or failing. And so if you're willing to take that level of responsibility about your results, you will learn more about yourself than you could almost any other way, I think, maybe short of parenting. And so making sure you know what really motivates you. Maybe you need to set a bigger goal, because I know I'm not going to get out of bed to make $1,000, but I might get out of bed to make 100,000 or 1 million. 10 million might be too abstract for me, maybe not for you. So knowing about setting goals that are right for you. And then the last one, and this is what I always keep coming back to, is going it alone. Success cannot be achieved in a vacuum. You know, it's very much part of our culture as Americans to have like that individual achiever, the superhero, the person who like climbed to the top of the mountain and pitched their flag. But we all know that everything is interconnected and that there were other people who had had our back in our success or had something to do with us being able to move forward. And so I'm a massive advocate of community, and not just having friends or places you go for networking, but really secure connections, like people you can call when you're having a really bad day and get very real, and that they have your back and they're not gonna gaslight you about what you've been doing, and they're not gonna just tell you to just go get a job if you were really in the thick of creating something brilliant. And so, you know, of course, Pregame is a shortcut to getting that community, but it can really be built almost anywhere. For you, it might be your business partner, it might be a group of close friends, it could be your incubator, it could be your church, it could be your yoga studio. You know, there's a lot of places to find that, but it's really what makes life rich and rewarding, and I wouldn't advocate doing entrepreneurship any other way. Seems like a good note to end on. I'm going to pass out one more sheet because I love that paper, and I'm going to draw a name for this. I think only like a few you put your card in, so the odds are pretty good. And if you have any questions, I'm absolutely happy to answer absolutely anything you'd like to ask, and if I don't know the answer, I will find it for you. But I'm going to pass out this sheet, and it has just more questions about you and your goals, and so if you want me to follow up with you and point you in the right direction for anything, I'm absolutely happy to do that, and I will do it. So I'll pass this out. Oh, hi. Are there any questions I can answer, like on this method or just generally business, marketing? Yeah.
You mentioned goals, so if you have the 6 goals, say you only achieve 1 or 2 of those 6 goals, do you just count those as a failure? Or
no, oh my goodness, never. There's no such thing as failure, it's learning. So say I have, his question was, if I have 6 goals and I only accomplish 1 or 2 of them, is that a failure? I don't count those as failure. You know, the reason that we meet every week at Pregame in our groups is so that we can correct it before then. Because first of all, we want to set a goal that is realistic and achievable. So someone might say like, I want to close my year with 2.5 million in sales, and they're only at 1 right now. Like, that probably isn't realistic unless they have the kind of business that really like does most of its sales in November and December. So we want to be realistic in that goal setting. So if you don't achieve them, we take a look back at why you didn't. Was it something that was like really out of your control, like environmental, or was it something that you didn't do? But we try to catch it early enough so that we can correct for it. And that's why what happens is everybody leaves the session each week with the top 3 priorities. And then at the beginning of the session the next week, they have to report on those top 3. And so it becomes apparent really quickly if they are setting the right size goals. Yeah. Anything else?
What's a membership cost?
What's a membership cost? Our regular membership is $297 a month. So it's $300 a month for like unlimited business coaching, which is pretty awesome, guys, because I paid $2,000 a month to be on like a phone call twice a month with a coach. It wasn't that good. So I really wanted to make this kind of like your insurance plan for your ideas. And then members can also do one-on-one sessions whenever they need them. Like if they've been out of town for a while, they're out of the loop, you know, they need more specific help with something, and those are $150. We have a team of coaches, I should say. It's not just me. So if you resonate better with someone else or someone else has a different specialization, we have one coach who's excellent at messaging, and I know that's a big thing, is like getting your pitch deck right and talking to your target audience in the way that they're going to hear what you're saying. We have another coach who specializes in facilitation, government relationships, being able to sell your ideas that way. We have another coach who's great at operations and funding, and another one who's great at digital and data. And so you can meet with any of us for the same rate. And then, you know, what I always advocate is before you join, do the kickoff session, which is it's 75 minutes, one-on-one with me, and we'll go through your whole entire, your whole entire thing and set those goals. And so that's a good way to just try before you buy as well. Yeah. Any other questions? Yeah.
Just a quick
sessions, are they in the form of a mastermind or how do you structure?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not familiar enough with like exactly what a mastermind session would be, you know, but I think it's a form of a mastermind. I think what's different between what we do in a mastermind is that there's a designated coach there facilitating it. It's not peer-led. So there's somebody who's like paid to be there. I find a lot of times mastermind groups fall apart because no one's in charge, and so no one's in charge. And so, you know, we're all working from the same content each week, so, and there's multiple sessions each week. So if you are in a group that meets Mondays at 12 and you're out of town this week, because we all have fluctuating schedules, you can come to Tuesday at 9 or Wednesday at 10 or another one, and it's the same content, just a different group of people. So it's another way to like make new connections too. Anything else? We're out of time. Okay, this is how, I'm just gonna make you do this. So this is how we end every pregame session. We all put our hands in like a team. Do it. Yeah. And then we go team! Woo! All right, thanks you guys. I do have also these cards with just all our contact information. You're welcome to keep this in your wallet as like in case of emergency you need a pep talk. I will answer the